What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here for the weekly sports card market update. No Marvel Masterpieces, no Disney Lorcana. I might have lied about that. If we have time at the end of the video, I might dip into some sealed wax prices on those two things. But plenty going on in the sports card world. Two of the in the news things on the card side is one, Wander Franco. We'll talk about him second. And then this Ja Morant card will not die. This is the Panini Chronicles. You may remember this card because it has the rapper Young Dolph in the background, who was shot and killed a while back. And this card has resurfaced in the news cycle, and it has caused the price to 3x in the matter of like a day and a half. If you don't know, if you've ever seen the movie The Blind Side with Michael Oher, there has been some accusations that maybe that story wasn't all the movie painted it out to be, and things didn't quite go like that. I'm not going to get into the details on that whole situation, but Michael Oher is accused, the parents that air quotes adopted him, I don't know the full details, that it didn't quite happen the way that it did in the book, or in the movie rather. Well, find out, and I don't know, I would love to cite the person that figured this riddle out, but I honestly don't know who. It's just been reposted 67 million times. So whoever you are out there that found this initially, my hat's off to you. I just don't know who you are. There was just too many reposts to track down the original. But these two people right here, this gentleman right here and this young lady right here, are those parents. So the background of this card just keeps getting more and more wild. This has caused prices of this card to go absolutely crazy over the last couple days. In a PSA 10, this card was, let's see, this is over the last 90 days. If we go back to May, it was going for about 115. It crept up to about 150-ish. Was back down around $100 or so, 115, 116. This is August 9th. And then today's the 19th. We could see here, I'm recording on the 19th, sale on the 18th for $320. It has gone absolutely crazy. You can see the total sales dollars as well, peaked on the 17th. Anytime you see this, when we see this here, this, woo, to the moon, dig into your box, and you should probably sell that card. This card in a PSA 10 has a population of 2,300. It is not rare. It is not numbered. And the same thing happened after the rapper was killed. The prices spiked, and then they came back down again. Now we have this. This is way less consequential, let's be honest. And it is peaking, and I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple months we look back at this card and go, oh, look, that card's back to $115, $120, assuming nothing crazy happens with Ja Morant at the beginning of the NBA season. So I don't know what to tell you guys and girls. We've been through this over the life of the channel. I can't tell you how many times where something causes cards like this to spike. It just happened a week ago with the Topps Now Panini, or I'm sorry, the Topps Now Ohtani Trout thing. I was keeping one of those cards. I wanted to keep one. I liked the card. I wanted to hang on to it. I sold my other four for like $50-$60. That card went to $250. I sold mine on eBay last week, $220. I put it up for buy it now, best offer for $210, I think, $215. I don't remember, somewhere around there. And I posted it right before I went to bed. I woke up in the morning and it was bought, paid full price. Someone binned it, and I shipped it off. Gone. Sorry, I like the card, but I know that is not a $200 and some card. At least I don't believe that it is. I don't feel that it is. There's plenty of them out there. There was a ton of those cards printed, and they grade really well. So I will, if I really want the card back again, I will patiently wait and buy it back later. cards like that are the epitome of they let you buy them back. This falls into that exact same category. So if you have one, personally, I'd be selling as fast as I can make the listing on eBay. You do what you want to do. That's what I would do. And 99, I feel like 90% of the time, that has worked out quite well. Actually, probably more than that, to be honest. Next up, our other man in the news. And we'll get back. We're going to talk about NBA again here a little bit later. And we're just straight at, like, really not too much crazy in the way of news stuff, I guess. I mean, that was kind of the big thing. And then the Wander Franco thing is news as well. But we're basically just starting right in with charts and graphs in the news section here. Link in the description down below if you want your own version of charts and graphs. If you want to check out Market Movers for yourself, you can get the first month free and 20% off your subscription fee for life off of whatever plan you sign up for. Wander Franco, we are now starting to see the pricing hits on his cards as the week here is kind of rolled on. As of time of recording, late Saturday evening or early Saturday evening, I guess, on the 19th. No new news has come out yet. A lot of rumors, a lot of speculation. Some people saying he's toast. Some tweets floating around saying he's going to be fine. The whole thing's still a mess. That's the one thing I can confidently say that we know. The situation is a mess, and it is a full-blown fire sale on his stuff. This is over the last 60 days, just so we could kind of see some run here. This is just more of his common stuff. We'll look at his autos in a second. His PSA 10 Bowman Chrome, just base card, was $60. It's down to $25. The Mojo Refractor was at $105. It's down $40. His Sapphire, this is non-Bowman 2022 rookie Sapphire, was $400. That's down to $130. His X-Fractor was $100. That's down to $45. Generally speaking, on these non-auto cards, you're looking at a 55 to 60% hit off the rip, and probably still room to run on that, to be honest, because the sellers drastically outweigh the buyers right now. On the upper end, if we look at his PSA 10 First Bowman Chrome Auto, these have started. We were waiting on some sales of this. There are 2 auctions ending later today on Sunday. When you all are watching this, I will post those results on the community tab, or at least on one of them, once I see that those completed. But we did have a sale on the 18th at $490. That is also a 50% drop over the last 60 days. This was basically a $1,000 card. It is now down to $500. I will be very curious to see what the ones ending at auction tomorrow. I feel like they were in the 350 to 400 range, with hours, with basically a full day to go, essentially on those ones. So we'll see where those finish up at, but it looks like it's going to be about another 50 to 60% hit. So if you are, and you know what, you do whatever you want, your money. If you are openly hunting for Wander Franco stuff, you're probably looking at least a 60% discount off of where stuff was selling at. That's at a bare minimum. I would want to buy, and I'm not looking to buy. I would want to buy way, way cheaper than that, but you were probably looking at least, a 60% hit. If you're selling, expect to take 60% off of what they were at recent sale prices before all this came out. So, ugly days in the streets for Wander Franco. We'll see how that story continues to play out and see how things move. Just sticking with baseball. And once again, we're just kind of charts and graphs focused today. Bobby Witt has really caught fire here in the last couple weeks. His stuff is also starting to creep up a little bit. Now, if I blew this chart out to spring training, you're still down to basically about even. But if you air quote kind of bought the midseason dip, you're seeing some nice returns. This is his PSA 10, BGS 9.5, and PSA 9, First Bowman Auto, Chrome Auto from 2020 Bowman. Those are all up 50-ish% on the high end, 20% on the PSA 9, 50% on the PSA 10, 50% on the BGS 9.5. That's 500 to 800, 400 to 600, and 355 to 425. So Bobby Witt getting a little midsummer heat to him as the bat has picked up here recently, and his running mate from 2022, Julio Rodriguez, from last year's product. This is his first Bowman Chrome Auto. This is at a significant jump as well. He's been hitting really well lately, and the market's starting to pick up on it a little bit. Now, I will note, you need to make one note here because I dug a little extra step deeper on this one. So maybe an asterisk here. We'll see what the next one goes off at. Prior to this sale, these were going for about $1,200. One popped off at $1,900. It was best offer accepted at 1.9K. Since that one sold, others have been listed at the $1,750 to $1,800 range and are sitting. This $1,900 number is a real comp, but there are ones priced by it now underneath of it. Now, I did look. It looked like those were all newer listings, so I don't think those were out there when that one sold. But just keep that in mind if you are in the market. Maybe wait to see what the next one goes for, or try to stay under that $1,700 to $1,800 price point if you are a buyer. If you're trying to sell, keep that in mind as well, that yeah, there's a $1,900 comp out there, but there are bins currently sitting on eBay for cheaper than that at the moment. But J-Rod does seem to be kind of picking things up here in the second half of the season, which is an encouraging sign for 2022 product. Witt and J-Rod kind of taking off here to close out the second half of the season would be nice, especially with Wander Franco basically torching most of 2022 product. So that's pretty much it for baseball. Wander Franco, we don't really know yet, but not looking great. Witt and J-Rod heating up a little bit. A lot of other stuff going on in baseball, but those were kind of the big things that popped off to the top of my list. Next up, football. Shout out to the Market Movers team. I had a monthly call with them, and I've been talking to Teapot about this as well, about putting together an index for rookie quarterback cards. Just to be able to have something kind of one click and get a general idea of kind of how these classes are going and how individual cards are moving. Part of the problem with this was settling on what cards to use. So after some back and forth with the team over there, we had settled on Optic Hollows and Silver Field Levels. The reason why we went that route, if you're familiar with Prism Silvers, the reason those aren't included is they really vary year by year. 2018 are mythical. They are practically impossible to find. 2021, the Trevor Lawrence has a print error on it, which kind of throws everything out of whack with the PSA 10s and PSA 9s. So we went with Optic Hollows and Field Level Silvers. I figured that was a pretty good mix. And once again, this is not saying that this is what the overall players market is doing or anything like that, but it does give us kind of a general baseline of the health of an individual class and the market for that particular player. So what I have pulled up here, which is just kind of interesting data, I have 2017, which is the Mahomes class, 2018, which is Lamar and Josh Allen. 2017 has Watson in it too. 2020, the absolutely loaded class with Burrow, Herbert, Tua, all those guys. And then 2021 with Lawrence and Fields and all those guys. So I ran this back 365 days. Remember, this is Optic Hollows and Silver Field Level Prisms. It's just kind of interesting to see. So if we go back 1 year, this would be right prior to the NFL season starting last year. So 2021 stuff wasn't out yet, so it can't be on the index back then. But all those are down to some degree from last year. 2017 is down 13%. 2018 is down 46%. A lot of that was the beating that Josh Allen took. Another big drop from Baker Mayfield stuff. That class kind of fell apart last year to a degree. It's now really just propped up by Allen and Jackson after initially it had a few more trendy names in it. Even the vaunted 2020 class has dipped down 23%. Now, part of that is just the overall market has gone down quite a bit since then. But, and this kind of shows the recency bias of these rookie classes. 2021 is up 25%. Most of that is on the backs of Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. Part of that is Lawrence has just been super buzzy, and Fields broke out kind of last season and had DJ Moore added in the offseason as well. Gave him a little bit of a boost. So it's just very interesting when you go back a year, almost every class is in the red to some percentage or another. I have a feeling Fast forward a year from now, there's a good chance the 2021 class will dip below that Mendoza line. Could be wrong. We'll see. So the other thing that I did here is I ran the same indexes, but a shorter time frame. I went 180 days. And 180 days basically takes us to right after the Super Bowl, or right around the Super Bowl, mid-February. Or, I'm sorry, late February. I was curious to see what the indexes did since then, because typically, kind of one of the trends that usually kind of filters out is right around the Super Bowl, other than the Super Bowl guys, obviously, tends to be a good buying period, and then just sit on them and then basically move them at the National is what a lot of people do. They just buy quarterbacks in the winter and then hold them to the summer, sell them, flip them, whatever, at the National. And this kind of backs that up to a degree. And once again, we're talking class specific here, not individual player. We'll look at some individual players in a minute. But the 2021 rookie class, once again, we talked about it, up 13%. The 2020 rookie class up 7%. And then the other two classes are about flat to slightly down. If we come here into the individual breakdown, 2021, once again, the two biggest movers are Trevor Lawrence. We see his field level silver and optic hollow at the top of that list, followed up by Justin Fields, up a decent amount. And then everybody else is down. Mac Jones obviously had a crazy season last year, not in a good way. Zach Wilson and Trey Lance as well have all really came back down to earth, but Lawrence and Fields have a lot of hype around them. If we look at 2020, Hurts obviously up. He had the Super Bowl run, not surprising. Tua getting a little bit buzzy again. I have my concerns there. I'd be scared to death to carry any of his stuff in the season. The interesting one here is that Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert have been pretty flat. Justin Herbert's field level silver is actually down $27 since the offseason. His optic hollow is basically flat. Burrow's is up ever so slightly, but nothing crazy. And even Jordan Love is kind of flat since then as well. So Hurts, Fields, a little bit of Tua doing most of the heavy lifting for that 2020 class. On the 2018 class, most of it is Lamar Jackson. His optic hollow is up the most, and his field level silver is up the most. Allen's is up a little bit, $100, and his field level silver is actually down a little bit, actually down quite a bit compared to the optic hollow. And then Darnold and Baker Mayfield still clinging to life there. Darnold stuff actually been creeping up a little bit. And then we go to 2017. Patrick Mahomes, optic hollow, carrying the weight here, up $200. Deshaun Watson field level silver and optic hollows are up slightly. And then Patrick Mahomes field level silver down slightly, but one has not sold for about 10 or 12 days or so. So just some interesting data. We'll be checking in on this as we kind of move throughout the season. That was part of the reason why I asked if there was something like this that they could put together of just a nice, clean, easy way. So if you do have market movers or you sign up for market movers, this is under the Market Pulse segment. There's a bunch of pre-built charts, essentially, that you can one-click on and compare them to each other. And that's where I'm pulling this data from. So if nothing else, it'll be good from a content side of things to give us just nice, clean looks at the various quarterback classes. 2022 is on there. I just did not include it because that stuff just hit the market and it's still all over the place trying to figure itself out. And I kept off 2019 because really the only player in there that matters is Kyler Murray. Daniel Jones stuff has been whatever. And then there is 2016 as well. That's mostly just Dak Prescott, but I did not include that on the list. You can compare 4 indexes at a time, and these felt like the most relevant 4. So that's why those were chosen. Sticking with football. CJ Stroud, I posted about this. This PSA 10 of his Panini Instant Auto sold for $1,700. It did not look shilled, at least towards the ending of the auction. Early on, there was always a little bit of shenanigans going on. But the bid history looks legitimate enough towards the end. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But we do see some nonsense going on here earlier in the bidding with some one feedbackers. But the ending looks okay enough. I did not see this get relisted yet. I did see a second one get listed. This was a pop 1 at the time. That is no longer the case. There is now a second one on the market. I still don't know. I think you boys and girls are well aware of this because we've been talking about it a bunch on the channel. I don't know that the general masses have still figured out that this is his only auto card. And full disclosure, I own one of these, not a PSA 10. Mine is ungraded, but it will be shipping off to PSA early this upcoming week. I have an order finally put together to send out to them. I just got to get it entered in and printed out. We'll see how the Bryce Young and the Will Levis autos from the Panini Instant thing are going to be very interesting to track. Immaculate College Football came out this past week. None of those guys are in there. So I think we are done with their autos, full stop. If Stroud and them did not get an Immaculate, they're not putting them in anything. That's college product, obviously, but they're clearly, doesn't appear that they're going to be an NFL product. Once again, no one has officially come out and said that one way or the other, but all the evidence points in that direction. They have not been in an NFL checklist yet, and they are now suddenly out of college product checklist from an auto only perspective. They'll have cards, they'll have silvers and color matches and all that stuff, but check those checklists if you are hunting these guys. Make sure you know what you're going after, because the companies are not, Panini is not going to get out there and be like, hey guys, there's no CJ Stroud autos in this product. FYI, here's an ad. They're not going to do that. So you need to do your due diligence, especially if you're buying in the breaks and stuff. Double check that checklist. I don't think they're ever going to be on anything. I think there is a really good shot, and I am pretty darn sure that's going to be the only auto for a long time of CJ Stroud in a Texans uniform. Same with the Bryce Young version of that card and the Levis version of that card. So we'll see where prices go from here. I just don't think, I think once again, as we talked about before with the John Morant this week and the Trout Ohtani last week, I feel like this is just going to be one of those things that all of a sudden it's going to hit and people are going to realize, and to the moon. I don't know. The Raws, I think the last Raw sale, I think was around $600, $500 or $600. The card costs $300 to buy it. So we'll see what happens. Mine shipping off to PSA. I'm sure by the time it is back, CJ Stroud will have sucked a bunch for the Texans and it will be worthless. Basketball. Wanted to touch on one quick thing on basketball, and then we'll kind of go ahead and wrap this puppy up. Two players kind of starting to tick up and see some life on the NBA side of things. The NBA market has been ice cold, quiet, not ice cold tanking, just quiet. Prices have been pretty flat. I did notice, I mentioned it in last week's video, at the CC2 trade night, there was low-key people kind of poking around like, hey, you got some basketball for sale? Looking for some of these like key players. So it does seem to be percolating a little bit. I will say two players that have gotten a little bit of a bump, Cade Cunningham and Chet Holmgren. The buzz is beginning to build. Chet Holmgren stuff is up 40% for his Silver Prism PSA 10, and Cade Cunningham is up 30% for his Silver PSA 10. He got a lot of buzz coming out of the Team USA stuff. I don't think he made the team. He's on the select team, I believe, but the camp reports, in air quotes, were very buzzy around Cade Cunningham. How he looked absolutely amazing and is playing super well, fully recovered, this, that, the other thing, and all the nonsense. So see what that looks like when the season comes. I have a Cade Optic Hollow. That's the only Cade Cunningham card that I own. I still have some 2022 or 2021 rather, Prism and Optic retail boxes floating around in a stash behind me. So those guys are getting a little bit of NBA buzz. We will see what happens as summer continues to kind of wane on in the NBA world. But before you know it, we will be in the NBA thick of it. We are just a couple months away from that, as crazy as that sounds. We had if you're in the Northeast Ohio area, you know what I'm talking about. Friday, whew, man, one of the best days we've had in a long time. It was low 70s. It was 50 degrees at night. There was a cool breeze. You could feel it, man. You could really feel it. There is nothing. That is my weather. Give me a nice, cool, brisk fall day with temperatures in the like low 60s and dip into the 50s to 40s at night. Crack that window when you probably shouldn't, but let that cold air creep in. That's it right there. That is my perfect day. Nice, cool, crisp fall morning with a nice warm afternoon. And Friday was a real big tease of that weather. Once again, if you live in the area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Even Saturday, today was pretty nice, a little bit warmer, but Friday was chef's kiss. So that is all I got for you, boys and girls. I was going to get into some non-sports stuff, but maybe we'll save it for something later in the week. I won't bog down the sports card video with Marvel and Lorcana sealed wax updates, but I think there is some interesting supply and demand conversations to be had around those two products. So that is all I have for you, boys and girls. If you stayed around this long, if you are interested, 2 fantasy football leagues have filled. I was not planning on doing a third, but if there is enough interest for a third, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll think about popping a third one up. So, catch you boys and girls on the next one. Peace.